Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. This video is part 2 of a series of 2 videos I am doing on French sunscreens. For many years I had a hate relationship with French sunscreens, but those past few years many brands have evolved in the way they formulate their sunscreens, and I have noticed 2 French brands in particular who did that. The first brand is Avène, and I already made a video about this brand. It is part 1. And the second French brand is SVR. So I'm talking about it today. SVR is a brand who has many sunscreens, but those past few years they reformulated a line of sunscreen that they called Sun Secure with new filters, which is supposed to be stronger and help with the aesthetic aspect of those sunscreens. For instance, they're supposed to be invisible to have a stronger protection against not only UVA, UVB, but also blue lights. And the texture of those sunscreens is also supposed to be better. When they launched this line of sunscreen a few years ago, they were all fragranced. But last year they released 2 of those sunscreens with a fragrance-free option. So I'm going to talk about those 2 sunscreens in this video, and I'm also going to talk about another one which is fragranced, but in my opinion it has enough positive aspect for me to talk about it today. I'm going to start by talking about the fragranced sunscreen. So it is called the Crackling Milk. It has no alcohol like all the sunscreen in this line, and it is also water resistant. So this one is made for babies, children, adults. You get 200 millimeters, which is enough for your face and your body. I love this sunscreen because of its light texture. So easy to apply, easy to spread, but at the same time you can see that it gets enough coverage. There are spray sunscreens that you can apply in the body, but in my opinion when you spray those sunscreens, most of the product goes in the air and not on your skin. With this, the way it is done, it really targets your skin only. So it's called a crackling milk, but for me the texture reminds me more of a frosted milk or whipped cream. It's called crackling because in fact when you apply the product on your skin you can hear the bubbles crackling. The brand has many claims when it comes to this sunscreen. They claim that it is invisible, which is true, as you can see. They say that it has a cooling sensation, which I absolutely agree. It's one of the reasons I enjoy it. They say that it has a thin texture, and that is true. An easy application, it is true, and it is moisturizing. And I also agree with that, especially since I have a dry skin on my body and I can feel the moisture when I apply this sunscreen. I rarely apply sunscreen on my body. When I do, it is in the summertime, but again, I don't do it every day. I do it only if I'm going to the beach in the middle of the afternoon, which usually I avoid. I tend to go early in the morning or late in the afternoon. But sometimes I am with friends and I have no other choice if I want to be with them to go in the middle of the afternoon. In that case, in those occasions, I will wear a sunscreen. And because I don't do it often, that's why I am not too bothered to use a sunscreen for my body which has fragrance. The fragrance in it is strong. It's not super strong, but it's strong, especially since I'm not used to have fragrance in my skincare products. But it does not smell bad. It smells like you are on vacation in a tropical island, so it smells very summery. The reason I like it, although it has fragrance, is because of the texture, which is original. That is the only sunscreen I know which has this frosted milk texture. It is also because I love the cooling sensation when you spread it on your skin, which is very enjoyable, especially in the summer when you are on the beach and it is really hot. And obviously, I love the fact that it is 100% invisible. It is fun to apply, and as the brand states on their website, I think that if you have kids who do not like applying sunscreen, they will really enjoy applying and reapplying this sunscreen. I would find it perfect if they had a fragrance-free version, but until they do, I am okay with using this one because I don't use it every single day. It is 24 euros for 200 millimeters, which make it affordable but not cheap. But for me, one bottle lasts me the entire summer since I don't use it every day, so I am fine with the price because of the quality of the product. The next two sunscreens are sold with fragrance, but they are also sold with fragrance-free options, and they are the only fragrance-free options from this brand when it comes to sunscreens. And I'm gonna review both while comparing one to the other. So the first one is simply called the Milk. It comes in a big packaging like this. The packaging is bigger than the frosted or crackling milk, which I showed you previously. It was 200 millimeters. This one is 250 millimeters, and the price is pretty much the same for the tube. But when you look at the price per quantity, this one is cheaper. So this one is called a Milk, but it looks like a cream and feels like a cream when you apply it on your skin. It's meant for babies, kids, adults, and obviously because of the big packaging, you can use it on your face and your body. The second product is called the Blur or Optical Blur. It comes in this packaging, which is a regular packaging for a face sunscreen. It is 50 millimeters. Obviously, with this small amount, you should only use it on your face. This one is called a creamy mousse. In my opinion, it's more like a creamy slash mousse slash paste because the texture is quite thick. The brand tells us that it has a blurry effect, almost like a beautifying primer that you apply on your skin before you apply makeup. This one can be found around 15 euros, which is a regular price for a sunscreen. It's not cheap, it's not expensive, but it's quite a regular price, at least in France. Now I'm going to apply those two sunscreens on my face so you see how it blends on the face, how invisible it is, and how it looks. So the Milk sunscreen, as I said, looks like a cream, feels like a cream. It applies nicely, the texture disappears quickly, it gets absorbed quickly, but you can feel that it is really moisturizing when you apply it. And since I have oily skin, in the end it looks like I have a dewy moisturizing effect on my skin. And in this video I apply a really good amount of product so you can really see. The other sunscreen, as I said, is quite thick. It feels like a primer. It's more a paste slash mousse than cream. So if you do not like a thick texture, it's not gonna be for you. And when you apply it, it's not drying, but it's not moisturizing the same way because it's not a cream. I was surprised at the beginning with this texture because I thought it would be difficult to apply on my skin, but actually when you get used to it, it's fine. Both sunscreen, as you can see, are fully invisible. When you apply the Blur sunscreen, it can feel gritty on your skin, So in order to minimize that, what I like to do is to massage first the sunscreen in my hands before I apply it on my face, and that helps to reduce that. The difference between those two sunscreens is the feeling when you apply it, the feeling in the texture, and the feeling on how your skin feels. This one is definitely more moisturizing than this one. This one is actually quite mattifying. It has mattifying properties. I would not say it is super matte unless you have dry skin, but if you have oily skin, it has mattifying properties. On my skin, I was expecting the milk to be greasy or very rich, because usually when you have a sunscreen that is meant for the face and the body, they tend to be super rich, like the Avène sunscreen, which I talked about on my previous video. So I was expecting this for my face. I didn't expect to like it, but actually when you apply it, when you blend it, the result is not greasy, the result is not oily. It feels very similar to many Korean sunscreens. And throughout the day, because I have oily skin, I was expecting my skin to really look oilier and oilier, but that is not the case. It looks dewier. My skin looks more glowy, definitely, but nothing that is uncomfortable, which I really did not expect with this sunscreen. The Blur sunscreen has this quite mattifying effect, which allows the makeup to look good on top of it. Actually, today I am wearing this sunscreen underneath my makeup, and obviously if you have oily skin, it's gonna look glowier throughout the day, but not by much. So I really like that. I think both sunscreen can work for every skin type, and the feeling obviously is going to be different depending on the season. And if you have dry skin, you will definitely need to apply a moisturizer underneath this one. Regarding the claims that the brand has for the Milk sunscreen, I agree with everything. And the part where I did not expect to agree on, as I told you, is the fact that although this sunscreen is moisturizing, it is not greasy. The texture is really enjoyable, even if you have oily skin. Regarding the Blur sunscreen, I agree also with almost all the claim this time, but there is one claim about the sunscreen that it is supposed to even out the skin tone, and for my skin this sunscreen looks invisible despite the orange tint it has. And so I guess it depends on your skin color, but definitely it cannot even out every skin tone with this color, because on me this orange tint just makes invisible finish. Also with this sunscreen, if you apply it on your neck or your décolleté, do not wear a white or light color clothes because it will leave stain on your clothes, so you are warned. When it comes to the Blur sunscreen, I've tried it last year already, which is why I have an empty here, and I use it during different seasons and I really enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed it the most in the morning in the summer when I go for my long run, because my skin was not oily when I was reaching back home. If you have oily skin in the summer and you go for a run, you know that most sunscreen will make you look even oilier, and that is not enjoyable to run and have oil all over your face. So I really enjoyed it, in particular in the morning for my runs. I used it every single day for a period of time and I did not break out from it. Also, I did not feel any sting on my eyes while using this product, but I do have one subscriber that told me that her eyes sting when she used this sunscreen after several hours, but I didn't have this problem, so it's gonna depend on each individual. The Milk sunscreen is a sunscreen that I tried this year for the first time. It does not sting my eyes. I've tried it so far during spring, so I tried and tested it several times, but not several days in a row. So far, I have not broken out from this sunscreen, but sometimes I have to use a product several days in a row for 1 to 2 weeks before I see my skin breaking out. So I'm gonna continue to test it again for a longer period of time, and I will tell you in the comment section if I see any difference, but I hope I won't, because as I told you, the price for the quantity, for the quality is unbeatable. It feels like a Korean sunscreen on my face, but for a cheaper price. So I hope that I will not break out from this. I have the fragrance-free version, but it still has some sunscreen smell that will disappear quite quickly. I am done reviewing those sunscreens, and in my opinion they are the best French sunscreen that you can find, but those sunscreen can also compete with Korean sunscreen. I like the fact that I gave you options for oily to dry skin. If you have tried any of those sunscreens, let me know in the comment section. If you have any questions about what I said in this video, please let me know. I will be very happy to reply back. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you on the next one. Bye bye.